Welcome to the Open Innovation Challenge, or program rather, information session. Once again, welcome everyone to our information session. And I will be your facilitator for today. My name is Doras Kampambasi Luizia, and I'm the Junior Innovation Associate here at Bongo Hive. And before I run you through the agenda, I will allow my team to introduce themselves, and after which I will run you the agenda for today. Mwaka, Lenny, please, the floor is yours.
My name is Mwaka Souza. I'm the multimedia designer here at Bongo Hive.
Thank you so much, Doris and Mwaka. My name is Lenny, and I am the marketing and communications lead at Bongo Hive. And I'm so happy to have everyone here. And I'm pretty positive that we're going to have a quite interactive and insightful information session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lenny. So the agenda for today, we're going to have an overview of what Bongo Hive does, and that will be done by Lenny. And after which I will go ahead to talk about the Open Innovation Challenge and why we are here in this setup with regards to the information session. And afterwards, we're going to present to you the challenge statements plus the eligibility criteria, which will be done by Lenny and I. And I will continue to walk you through the application form, where most of you have started your applications, others have incomplete applications, and others have completed them. So we'll run you through just to see where the challenge is and why other applications are still in progress. After that, I'm going to hand over to Lauren from GIZ to give a keynote address, and Taonga from Bongo Hive, the innovations manager, will come through to give an address as well. And we'll open up the Q&A session, which will be answered by GIZ and Bongo Hive. After which we'll have our next steps, and then we wrap up and close. So just to make mention, we're only here together for an hour or less. Yeah, so Lenny, over to you about Bongo Hive.
All right, thank you very much, Doris. If you can just allow me, I have my video off. Again, I think it's because of how I joined with the link, so you'll only be able to hear my voice. But thank you, Doris. All right, so we get into what Bongo Hive is all about. What we like to say, we work with great minds, building viable solutions that change the world. That is essentially what we stand for as Bongo Hive. And even just from the beginning up until now, we like to work with partners. Co-creation actually is a very big aspect of what we do as Bongo Hive. I think if you've seen the content that we've been putting out on social media, and if you've had a chance to go through the application, which Doris will take you through, a very big aspect of this process is co-creation, which essentially speaks to what we do as Bongo Hive. I'm sorry for that background noise. I hope it's not disturbing. All right, so what does Bongo Hive comprise? Well, we've got the Bongo Hive group of companies. If you can just go to the, all right, so maybe I can explain the name. So where does the name come from? A lot of people tend to ask. So Bongo Hive is actually a merge of two words, which is Uwongo. For those of us that know Bemba, it means brain, the mind, then beehive. So why did we come up with the concept of a beehive? Well, a beehive is a place where sweet things are made, honey, which is honey. And we like to say that we like to make products and services that our clients love, or that our stakeholders love. So Uwongo, as we said earlier on, we work with great minds, which speaks to the minds, and to make viable solutions that change the world. How is that done? If we look at a beehive is full of activity. Bees are collecting pollen from one flower to the other flower, and they're busy creating this beautiful product, which is honey. That is where our name comes from. And you can see even our logo is actually a merging of the the hive itself, and also that location symbol, essentially being the hive itself. Thank you, Doris. Can we have the next slide? All right, so as Bongo Hive, obviously over the years, we have been fortunate or blessed to actually have grown and expanded. So we have Bongo Hive Innovation, which is the second logo. We've got the Hive co-working space. That's where I am. Sorry, I couldn't show you, my camera being off, but I'm actually working at the co-working space. Then we also have the first logo, sorry, speaks to Bongo Hive Tech, Bongo Hive Innovation, the Hive Co-working, then we've also got Bongo Hive Ventures. So let's quickly run through a bit of the four of these. So for the first logo, which is the one in black and white, which is Bongo Hive Consult Tech, this is our technology consulting firm or unit. So we do have a tech unit, we do have developers that are obviously creating amazing products, websites, applications, processes, and that speaks to our technology consulting side or our unit. Then if we move on to the second logo, that's that's our main Bongo Hive, the Strain Consult there. This speaks to our innovation as well. So it's still a merge of tech and innovation. So all, like Adora said, she's in the innovation team. So they are the ones that are giving out all our services or that are relaying our services to do with innovation. For those of us that are blessed enough to go to the next level, we'll be able to understand a bit more what we're speaking of when we speak of innovation. Then for the Hive co-working, that's obviously the space. So we believe in giving entrepreneurs a platform to grow. So our Hive co-working space is specially designed, or it's made in such a way that a freelancer or an entrepreneur that might not necessarily have a place of their own can actually come here and are able to work because we've got affordable packages. But it also, moving away just from offering this infrastructure, we also try to create a community. So you find that we've got different entrepreneurs here that can have an opportunity to just interact, share contacts, share connections, and essentially lead into partnerships and other amazing things to the work that they're doing. So that speaks to Hive co-working. Then for Bongo Hive Ventures, which I'm not entirely the best place to go deeper into it, but this is basically the unit where we're trying to sort of speak more towards revenue generation, not just for Bongo Hive, but in the future, even to be able to support startups in that regard, with regards revenue. Next slide, please. All right. So with regards to our position, and I think it speaks mainly to some of our partners and key stakeholders. Obviously, we do work with academia. So for example, I'll give an example. Last year, we signed an MOU with Uniles, and essentially it's us trying to see, okay, how can we, with our technology and innovation expertise, come in to offer an opportunity for students to learn, an opportunity or platforms for students to actually be exposed to technology and innovation in industry. So that speaks to academia. We do share opportunities and also have worked on projects that benefit students, speaking to academia. Obviously with industry, as I said, we do have our consultation units that do work with corporates and entrepreneurs on some of the projects that we do. We are blessed to work with banks. Just currently we're working with Standard Chartered Bank for the SC Women in Tech. We also have obviously even just Make IT and GIZ for this particular project as well. So we do also have close ties and close partnerships with industry, with the government as well. Currently, if I could speak to that, we're fortunate to be in a position to contribute to the startup bill. So for those of us that may not know what that is, that let me say our colleagues, or rather our friends out there, have got startup bills in different countries. I think Nigeria, if I can give an example. And essentially what that does is at least it gives, it makes things easier in terms of regulation and also just making the environment favorable for startups, maybe even such as yourselves as well. So as Bongo Hive, we have been actively involved in trying to advocate, but then also just adding insight or giving insight with regards to the startup bill for Zambia. It is still being worked on. but it's a conversation that we are very much part of. And these are some of the ways that we also have partnerships with the government or public institutions as well, but all essentially within the framework of the work that we do.
Are you
All
able
right,
to-
so yes, I can see. All right, so speaking to entrepreneurship, so like I said, within our consult unit, we have the entrepreneurship unit, we've got the innovation unit, and we've got the tech unit as well, technological units as well. So who do we work with in terms of our ecosystem? And speaking to entrepreneurships, we do work with businesses that are either at pre-startup or maybe even just idea stage. We do work with startups already, such as yourselves. We also do work with small and growing businesses, also small and medium enterprises as well, and then corporates as well. So most of the times, when I say work with, we are usually in collaboration with various partners. For example, I will give the Standard Chartered Women in Tech as well. So what we're doing, we're working with Standard Chartered to try to capacitate female-led startups that have got businesses across all sectors. And essentially what we're trying to do as Bongo Hive in that particular project is give them insight or rather mentorship on business growth, but then also help them to digitize. As the name says, SC Women in Tech, so women in technology. So we've got some businesses that might have a product, but how can they incorporate technology for the product to maybe reach more people or to even just be more viable and sustainable? Because at the end of the day, you do want that product to be sustainable and to be also meeting the needs of the target audience. That's giving an idea of some of the work that we do with our startups as well. Corporates, again, if I jump to that, again, Standard Chartered Bank being an example of the work that we do with corporates. We also do run some trainings with regard to innovation for different corporates such as banks and even just other organizations as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much the work that we do in the ecosystem, and all that forms our ecosystem. All right. So when we talk about entrepreneurship and just for startups itself, as I said, if it's at idea stage, previously we used to have just exclusive would try to sort of validate or idea with the particular entrepreneur. Right now, we're not doing that exclusively, but for some of the programs that are running, there is an opportunity to look at businesses or work with businesses that are at idea stage as well. So what this also looks like as well, and again, in line with our programs, is we look at things like investor readiness. Is a startup ready? What can you do as a startup to be ready? What are some of the things that you need to do? Again, I'll give an example with Women and Tech only because it's currently running. So I want to give an example with what we're actually doing. So if we talk of investor readiness acceleration, one of the things obviously that is very important is that you sometimes have companies or small startups that have got a product, have got a brilliant idea, but they just don't have their books in order, or they're not registered with the right authorities and things like that. So for some of our programs, even just the eligibility criteria is you need to, if I may use that term, have your books in order. You need to be able to go through your due diligence comprehensively and correctly. You need to be essentially, if I may use the term, you need to be at par with regards to some of these regulatory bodies, maybe your PACRA and things like that. So that is some of the things that we also look into, other than just what products or what idea do you have, but are your books in order? If an investor were to come to you, is your pitch ready? If they were to look into this and this and that, would they find that this is in place? Okay, also speaking to incubation as well. We do offer incubation programs for all our projects that we do. Most of our projects, when the other big stage of that particular project is incubation. So currently for Women in Tech, there is an incubation that is ongoing, is actually ongoing as well. Mentorship as well is also a part of what we do through our projects as Bongo Hive, again, for various projects that we do offer mentorships, and some of the mentors that we have, some of them are in-house, that is to say we've got experts within Bongo Hive, but then we also do have an opportunity to leverage on experts outside of Bongo Hive to come through and share their insight with the startups that we work with. Next slide, please. All right, so about the Open Innovation Program, Joyce, would you want to just give a brief run through before I get into the challenge statement?
Yes, Lenny, just give me a minute or two just to give a brief background about the Open Innovation Program. So, all right, so the Open Innovation Program, which we call OIP, reflects, sorry about that background noise. It reflects its belief in the power of collaboration and also the importance of bringing diverse perspectives together to create impactful change. So we are Bongo Hive and GIZ are collaborating on this program. Just the aim here is to bridge the gap between the private and the public sector innovation needs, which are the problem statements that you'll be answering to shortly in your applications, and also innovators or startups providing customized tech solutions relevant to the local market conditions. So with this innovation program, the innovators will develop customized solutions that are socially and economically relevant to our society today and transforming their innovations into market-ready and scalable products and services in Zambia. So this is a Zambian-based program. So if there are any applicants from outside of Zambia, that will automatically be rejected because we're solely focusing on Zambia. So this program is focused on 3 sectors, which are green tech, smart cities, and fintech sectors. So here, the people in this room, if you belong to any of these, or if your innovations fall under the green tech, the smart cities, or the fintech sector, please put on your shoes and your cool caps and get ready to make a real impact in these sectors. So why are we here on this platform today? Listening to this information session. So this session is meant to help applicants to be guided accordingly as you apply for the innovation challenge. So basically that is it. So for the challenge statements, sorry about that. So the challenge statements that Lenny will walk us through shortly. So basically these challenge statements are the things that you're going to be responding to in your application. So previously we had 3 individual insight formations with the sectors that I just mentioned, with industry experts from different fields in these sectors. So the aim for these insight formation sessions was just to gather insights from different industry experts. So these insights were then gathered just to understand challenges, opportunities, and also trends that are in these individual sectors. So after the insight formation sessions, the insights that were gathered then informed the development of challenge statements, which will take you through momentarily. So the challenge statements are what you will be responding to in your application, and we'll have the challenge statements. We have 15 challenge statements that came through the process. So Lenny, over to you with the challenge statements.
All right. Thank you so much, Doris, for that very comprehensive background. All right, so we're going to start with the green sector. So for those of us that are in the meeting that are from the green sector, this would be really important for us to understand what are the challenge statements that either we've already identified or would like to identify. So the first one is under financing, so the sort of the financing sector, and the problem statement reads, John is the founder and CEO of Kenaya Energy Limited, an upcoming energy company in Solwezi, Northwestern Province, with a degree in electrical engineering. He needs financing for his company to promote green energy production in Zambia. The challenge statement reads, how much we provide affordable financing for John to speed up production for his company in Solwezi. So before I go further on, if you are in any of these sectors and you've got a question, please just take note of the question. After we read through or go through these challenge statements, we'll be able to address your questions. So right now, I'll just be running them through, giving a bit of an overview. But if you've got a question, just take note of it. There'll be time for Q&A to have your questions addressed, or you can just maybe put them in the Q&A chat section, and we'll definitely address them. All right, so that is the first one. So in that challenge statements, you are then looking at how can you provide affordable financing for John to speed up production for his company in Solwezi. That is the solution that were you to enter this program, that's something that you would be looking to do. Under the energy infrastructure, the problem statement reads, Chipego Mwanza is a 27-year-old director at D Generations, a green tech company. She wants to directly deliver clean and sustainable energy solutions such as solar and wind power, but lacks access to the right infrastructure. What is the challenge statement? How much we solve the energy infrastructure problem for Chipego to ensure the smooth delivery of wind and solar power. So with regards to the challenge statement, what you're looking at is energy infrastructure. How do we solve this energy infrastructure problem? Why are we looking at that? Because we want to ensure that there's a smooth delivery of wind and solar power. The third sector under green tech is the promotion of renewable and sustainable energy sources. Problem statement reads, Mwaka is a 37-year-old farmer living in Chongwe who needs access to an affordable renewable energy source because she needs to increase productivity on her farm despite the energy deficit in her area. The challenge statement is how much we provide an affordable renewable energy source for Mwaka so that she may increase productivity on her farm despite the energy deficit in her area. So those are the three challenge statements under the green tech sector. Next slide, please.
There are actually 6 challenge statements in each sector, so that was
okay. All right. All right, thank you, Doris, for that. So the fourth one is under the adoption of green tech alternatives, so green production. The problem statement is Jane, a business owner in Kitwe, Zambia, is a sustainability advocate who needs access to affordable and reliable renewable energy sources for her business operations because she wants to reduce her carbon footprint and operating costs while contributing to a greener future. So Jane is a business owner. She lives in Kitwe, and she's also a sustainability advocate. So she's concerned about the environment and ensuring that we use sustainable processes. So she wants to access affordable and reliable energy for her business operations because she wants to play her part and she wants to reduce the carbon footprint while contributing to a greener future. So she's someone who is concerned about the environment and she's concerned about ensuring that we use clean and renewable resources. So what would be our challenge statement? We're saying how much we provide affordable and renewable energy access to small business owners like Jane to promote a greener future in Zambia. So if you're creating a solution under this challenge statement number 4, what you're looking at is how can you provide an affordable and renewable energy access to a small business owner like Jane who lives in Kitwe. So what are some of the things that you can look at that Jane would be able to access and probably afford so that she can promote a greener future in Zambia? The fifth one is under waste management, still under green tech. The problem statement reads, Maria is a 30-year-old restaurant owner in Soweto Market in Lusaka who needs a proper collection of waste around her workplace so that she can attract more customers to her business and increase her earnings. So I think this is very relatable for a lot of us who've been to Soweto Market. I think garbage is quite a big problem there, and we can attest to the fact that there is need for improved garbage collection methods. What is our challenge statement? How much we transform waste management services so that Maria can attract more customers and increase her earnings. So what are some of the innovations or what are some of the solutions that we can come up with that will result in proper collection of waste around her workplace, which is in this case a market, so that she can attract more customers to her business. The first thing, the sixth point is under awareness. And the problem statement is Kaluya, a 37-year-old environmental advocate in Chongwe, Zambia, needs to build awareness of green technologies and their benefits in her community because she recognizes the significant potential for Zambia to transition towards a more sustainable energy sector to the development and utilization of green technology. I just try to go through it again. So we have Kaluya, who's 37 years old. He's an environmental advocate in Chongwe, so he is working within the environmental sector, and he now needs to build awareness of green technologies. So how does he communicate, or how does she communicate rather, to her community about the importance of green technologies? Because she recognizes the significant potential for Zambia to transition towards a more sustainable energy sector. So we're looking at someone who would say is in a bit of a rural area in Zambia. She's educated. She obviously has the knowledge of environmental issues, but she's trying to build awareness and trying to let her community know on the benefits of using green technologies. So what is our challenge here? How might we build awareness and adoption of green technology in Zambia to reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels and promote a more sustainable energy sector? So in our challenge statement, we're looking at it from a broader aspect, and that is, how can we build awareness of the adoption of green technology in Zambia? All right, so I'm going through it quite a little bit fast. I hope you're able to keep up with me. But again, if you've got any questions, please know that you have time to have the questions answered. So we move on to smart city sector. Our problem statement is John is a university student who needs access to infrastructure that supports smart city technologies because he needs to efficiently navigate his urban environment and access services without obstacles or delays. Sorry about that. So John, who is a university student, he needs to access infrastructure that supports smart city technologies because he wants to efficiently navigate his urban environment and access services without obstacles. So our challenge statement is, how might we provide seamless integration and coordination among different smart city systems for John so that he can efficiently navigate his urban environment and access convenient services without obstacles or delays? So again, I think when it comes to smart cities and also just looking at our environment in Zambia, or rather just where we are with regards to smart cities, I think it's a call for us to be creative, looking at what we have right now and where we aspire to go. So Doris can come in here, but I think it's also fine for you to imagine what you might not exactly see in Zambia yet, because we're not yet there in terms of technology, but it should be, I think, a solution that still is workable. If you were to implement it in Zambia, it should be workable. So I think don't be too limited to what you're just seeing now, but try to think outside of the box, but see how that can still be feasible and workable here in Zambia. Then the second is under sustainable development problem statement. Sarah, an experienced government official in urban planning, needs to accelerate the development of smart cities in Zambia because they're crucial for promoting sustainable, livable, and economically competitive urban environments. The challenge statement is, how might we improve collaboration for smart city solutions between industry, government, and academia for Sarah to accelerate the development of smart cities? So Sarah, who is in the field of urban planning, she wants to increase or accelerate the development of smart cities in Zambia to promote sustainable living and just economically competitive urban environments. And in that, with that perspective, how can we increase or improve collaboration for smart cities between industry, government, and academia? So what are some of the solutions that we can do that can sort of merge our industry, the government, and academia? How can they come together to create solutions that can accelerate development of smart cities? The third one is resistance to adoption or change. The problem statement is, Jacob is a 25-year-old business owner in Lusaka who needs an understanding of smart city initiatives and adoption to gain confidence in the technology. Challenge statement is how might we simplify smart city technology for small business owners like Jacob so that he gains confidence and understanding, thus increasing the adoption of smart technology. So this one I think is pretty straightforward. We're looking at a small business owner in Lusaka who needs to understand smart cities. Number 4 is awareness of smart cities. Problem statement. Joseph is a recent IT graduate from the University of Zambia who believes in the power of information technology, but is unaware of the concept of smart cities and the potential it has to solve some of the problems in his city. So he's a student, but not really aware of the concept of smart cities, which I think speaks to a lot of our students in Zambia already. What is our challenge here? How might we practically and effectively build awareness about the concept of smart cities and their potential to solve some of the problems in Joseph City? The 5th one is the use of human-centered design methodologies, also known as HCD. If you're not so familiar with this, you can even Google it and research a bit more for you to have an understanding. Problem statement is Twiza, a 25-year-old startup CEO in Lusaka province, needs a better understanding of human-centered design methodology to ensure her projects address the real needs of actual users, thus ensuring a more efficient and more flexible design process. What's our challenge here? How might we provide a better understanding of the HCD methodology for Twiza so that she can adopt and implement smart city projects that are user-centric and meet the needs of the communities they serve? Speaking to talent on point number 6, problem statement, Chalwe, a 40-year-old CEO of a technology company, needs a skilled local talent to develop and implement smart city projects in Zambia because he wants to build local capacity to drive economic growth and sustainable development and promote the use of these technologies in enhancing the quality of life for residents. So we've got a CEO of a technology company, and he needs people to work, or he needs talents that can develop and implement smart city projects in Zambia. What's our challenge? How might we develop and attract skilled local talent in Zambia's smart technology sector to support Chalwe in developing and implementing smart city projects to drive economic growth and sustainable development?
All right. Thank you so much, Lenny, for running us through the green tech and also the smart cities. So I'll pick it up from here with the fintech sector. So here, one of the themes that were identified was trust. And we have the problem statement, which reads, Jennifer, a 35-year-old founder of a tech-based financial management platform living in Lusaka province, who needs to build trust with consumers, so that she can attract and retain her customers, drive the adoption of her products and services, and increase revenue for her business. So what is the challenge statement speaking to the problem? How might we help Jennifer build customer trust so that she attracts and retains her customers, drives adoption of her products and services, and increases revenue for her business? The second theme that came out of the Inside Formation session was access to affordable financing for scale. So here the problem statement reads, Francis is a young entrepreneur in Zambia's fintech sector who needs access to affordable financing because he wants to scale his business and improve financial inclusion in Zambia. What is the challenge statement? How might we increase access to affordable financing options for young fintech entrepreneurs like Francis to enable them bring their innovative ideas to the market and scale their businesses? The third one is skilled talent. So the problem statement reads, Peter, a 30-year-old young entrepreneur, needs skilled local talent to help his business innovate and grow because local talent is cost-effective and improves the local talent pool. So the challenge statement is, how might we assist young entrepreneurs like Peter to attract and retain skilled local talent so that he can innovate and compete effectively in the market in a cost-effective manner? So here we're calling upon fintech companies to collaborate with entrepreneurs just so that they are able to retain skilled talents instead of them hiring from outside. So the fourth theme was relationship between traditional banks and fintechs. So the problem statement reads, Martha Chiti is a 35-year-old fintech founder from Ndola, Zambia, who needs to collaborate with a traditional bank so that she can access resources and expertise to help overcome key challenges as her business scales while helping banks expand their offerings and increase their market share. So with this one, it's better to collaborate in the sense that as you are advertising for your startup fintech company, you're also advertising on behalf of traditional banks that are already in existence, just to help them also have that broader view with the customers that you already have. So the challenge statement here is, how might we foster collaboration between fintech startups and traditional banks to partner effectively and leverage each other's strengths to expand their reach and impact in the financial industry? The last one under the fintech sector is technology and adoption. Here the problem statement reads, Maria Banda is a 37-year-old founder of a village banking entity who needs increased awareness and understanding of the role of technology in the finance sector because she wants to leverage technology to improve her operations and services. The challenge statement here is, how might we increase public awareness and understanding of the role of technology could play in the financial services sector among Zambian users to improve their operations and services. So these were the 15 challenge statements that came out of our sessions when we met with industry experts, and I do hope that you can relate to one or two of them, and it will inform your understanding as you are responding to the questions in the application. Okay, so just to speak to the eligibility criteria for this Open Innovation Challenge, we have your product or service should demonstrate a clear potential for monetization and sustainability. So your business should be registered with the registration agency, which is PACRA, with all relevant documentation in place. You should also have a product or service that already has traction. So is your product or service already on the ground? Is it already working? Is it helping people in one way or another? So startups with more than one founder are preferred, not to say those who are just individual founders are not preferred, but yeah, just startups with one founder, because two heads are better than one. And also the other criteria is startups with a tech or tech-enabled minimum viable product are also preferred. So right about now, I'll walk us through the application form, and here is the link, just so we see how we're supposed to handle the application process, and also any challenges that you might be having. So this is a very important aspect of this session. So if you've got any questions pertaining to the application process, if you're having any challenges in completing your application, please note down your questions, and when the Q&A session is open, please feel free to ask your questions. So just allow me to go to the program. So when you click the link that I just showed you, this is how your page will look like. So you will read about what the program is about and also the benefits of the program. You'll find that when you click on a specific slide, let's take, for instance, knowledge sharing through business modeling sessions. At the back of that, you're going to learn more about the business sharing. So here you're going to learn from experienced partners in the digital space and gain valuable insights into developing a successful business model. And when you go to idea development as a benefit, you're going to get guidance from experts in the fields of innovation and idea development to take your idea to the next level. And when the other benefit, which is to develop viable ideas and prototypes, so this will bring your idea to life and develop prototypes that are not only innovative, but viable and profitable. And lastly, you're going to build profitable and impactful solutions. So here, with the help of the Innovation Challenge, you will be able to create solutions that not only make a profit, but also have a positive impact on society and the environment. So after you have gone through this, then you click here on Apply Now, which will lead you to the application form. So here we have the general information where we require your email address. This email address should be fully active because it's the one that we're going to be using to bring information to you on the next steps if you're picked to the next level. And then the next thing you're going to put is your age, your location here, your gender. And then here, you will need to let us, you need to tell us if you're applying as a team. So if you are not applying as a team, you click no. If you're applying as a team, you select yes. So here, if yes, if your previous answer was yes, you will need to give us names and phone numbers, email addresses of up to 3 team members of your startup. This is so that we also have their information and also keep them updated in case that your idea or solution has been picked to the next stage. Here also, just before I leave here, if you selected no here, there's no need for you to input any information on this box. Then on the 7th question, please share your motivation for applying, if applicable, your team's motivation as well. So here we need to hear what motivated you to apply for this innovation challenge. How is your solution different from other people, and how should we pick you? Basically, just a motivation for applying for this innovation challenge. And here on number 8, we have, if not, so this is a follow-up if you said no, if you're applying as an individual. So if not, are you willing to be placed in a team solving for a similar challenge statement? So if we find that there are people that applied as individuals and they've got similar ideas, so will you be willing to be grouped and also just put your heads together and come up with one viable solution as a team? That is what you're going to put here. So here you either put yes or no. If you're not willing, you put no. If you're willing, you put yes. So on the 9th question here, please select the sector that applies to you. So these are the 3 sectors. You select if your solution falls under green sector, if it falls under smart cities, or your solution falls under the fintech sector. And then here you go on to say if the selected sector, which problem and challenge statements would you like to address? Which challenge statement would you like to address within the sector you have selected? So these are the challenge statements that we are just from reading out to you. So here there were no problem statements, but the challenge statements are here. No, actually it provides both the problem statement and the challenge statements, the same thing that we were from reading to you. So just to save on time, I think you will go through these problem and challenge statements and then just see which one applies to you. So this one is the smart cities sector. We have the 6 challenge, the problem and challenge statements there. And 1.3 is the fintech sector. We have our 5 problem and challenge statements. So you're almost done with your application. Here we will require more details. So for whom would you like to solve this challenge for? So here you're going to answer, you have identified a problem in your area or in Zambia or in your community society. Here you're going to tell us who you're solving this problem for. Are you solving for people? Let's take, for instance, the fintech sector. Is it that village banking is no longer working for people? So how are you going to come up with technology or an innovative idea that will make it easier for people to join village banking and so on and so forth? So here, what problem are they facing? So based on what challenge you're going to put here, you're also going to tell us now what is their challenge. Is their challenge, how can I put it? Is their challenge village banking not easily accessible to people maybe in the rural areas, or the way they do their village banking is not appealing? How do you want to make it easier for people? So that is what you're going to put there. And then on the 29th question, briefly tell us about your idea and what makes it unique from existing solutions in the sector you've selected. So if you're able to use statistics, well and good, it will inform your uniqueness of the solution. So as I said earlier, these solutions that you are coming up with or that you have, there's already somebody that is doing that. But how is your solution unique from what is already in existence? What differentiates your solution from what is already happening? And then the 30th one is, how does your solution address the challenge presented? So here you're going to tell us how it is, how your solution is addressing the current status quo of the challenge that is at hand. And then on the 31st question, which SDG are you addressing? So it is very important that even as you are coming up with your solutions, you factor in an SDG. What SDG are you addressing in solving for that challenge that is being faced? Is it poor education? Is your solution targeted to increasing quality education and all that, etc.? So here, that is what you put, what SDG. If you're able to explain how your solution fits into the SDG, that is also good. You can feel free to also just make that impact on your answer. On number 32, do you have a stable internet connection and access to a desktop or a laptop? So here you select if yes, you have, if no, you put your no there. Number 33, which is the last part, are you available to participate in a virtual in-person program between June 21st and August 21st, 2023? So if you will be available to participate in the in-person program and also the virtual program, you select your yes or your no here. So this is how the application form looks like. So like I mentioned earlier, if you've got any concern, any problem, any challenges with regards to the application form, please put it in the Q&A and it will be addressed as we open the Q&A section. So here I will share back the presentation. So at this point in time, Lorraine, I will hand over to you just to give a brief or an address to the people in the room. Over to you, Lorraine.
Good afternoon, everybody who's here. My name is Lorraine Davis, but just a quick one because I know we also had a background ready, but I can see that I'm unable to share my screen. I'm happy to go ahead without it if that's what you'd prefer.
I can stop sharing, Lorraine. Please go ahead and share your screen.
Good afternoon. My name is Lorraine Davis, and I'm part of the GIZ Make IT in Africa team. I sit in Gaborone, Botswana, and our team sits in West Africa, East Africa, as well as Southern Africa. The Southern Africa team sits in both Namibia and Botswana, Botswana being myself, and then everybody else is in Windhoek, Namibia. So I thought that maybe I could just give a little bit of context on what the Make IT in Africa project is, or who we are rather, and then take it a bit into a few thoughts that we had around why we designed the Open Innovation Program the way that we did. And then of course just say to you that if you are selected to please just make the most of it. So the Make IT in Africa, this is actually now the second phase of the project, and it will run until April 2024. And essentially what we aim to do is essentially support the innovation ecosystem all across sub-Saharan Africa. And we're doing this in West, East, and in Southern Africa, with the team sitting in the areas that I highlighted previously. Our focus is on supporting the ecosystem holistically. This is speaking to on a micro level, which would be now the startups who we're speaking to today, and supporting also on a meso level, which would be now the intermediary level, where we're also building capacity around the hubs or ISOs, ESOs, innovation support organizations, such as Bongo Hive and others in the ecosystem. And then on a macro level, where we are also supporting in terms of policy dialogues, etc., to see how we can foster the getting into place more policies and regulation, etc., that better supports the innovation ecosystem in our region. So that's essentially who we are. When we talk about what we believe in, we say that we believe in the catalytic power of African innovation. So that is just a little bit about the Make IT in Africa project. There are certain sectors or verticals that are very important to us that we have set out to support. The first of them being the blue tech sector, the green tech sector, as well as the smart city or smart community sector. Green and smart are both represented in the OIP program that the team has shared a bit on, etc., and even went ahead and prepared challenge statements accordingly to speak to those two sectors there. In addition to also supporting those sectors, we also have set out, of course, to, given the climate of the day, to also support female-led startups, as well as female team members of ISOs and or ESOs in and around the region. So you will find that in some of the programs that we are working or we have developed, there's a particular focus on women, the OIP being one of them, in that we're also looking for female-led startups or teams that have one female as a co-founder of that particular startup. And even on a meso or intermediary level, we also have a program that speaks particularly to women or female, which is the Women in Leadership topic, where we're essentially trying to build capacity around team members such as Lenny and Taonga, essentially all the ladies that work in your ISOs and or ESOs, where we're essentially trying to just build capacity around that so that they could be able to deliver even more on top of what the fantastic work that they have already been doing. So our approach speaks to those verticals as well as supporting women in the innovation ecosystem. Our holistic approach to supporting the ecosystem even feeds into how we approach sectors or verticals that have quite a lot of room to grow, actually, with particular reference to now the blue topic, where we're also looking to support the supply and demand. So what we would do is build capacity for the startups so that they could be better able to get the investment that they need, etc., and their startups are up to par, etc., through a program like the OIP, for example. And then we also take time now to beef up the knowledge that the investors have on the sector so that the two can meet at a common ground where the investors understand fully what is happening in that sector, what the opportunities are, and the startups are also at a place where they are also up to par with what the expectations of the investors are. So that's how essentially we're taking a holistic approach to the work that we do within the innovation ecosystem. Bringing it now to the OIP, or the Open Innovation Program, we did previously do this in Rwanda 2 iterations already, and the one that we are doing now this year, being 2023, would then be the 3rd iteration of the program. From some of the learnings that we have had, we have seen how important it is for us to onboard potential partners very early on and onboard them very well from the very beginning, so that in turn, once the solutions that you come up with have already been made, then there are already partners that are ready to work with you and take up the solutions. So that's some of what we have learned and have applied now in this new iteration of the program. So we're looking forward to the success that we will see from this, in that we took a lot of time to look at partners in the sectors that we want to speak to and the challenges that they face and how they can potentially come on board. And then there is an uptake of the solutions that you would then come up with. The essence of the OIP, and I think the team has already spoken to this earlier, but it's really just to say that we want to create an opportunity for startups and corporate and public sector partners to come together and innovate solutions to problems in the sectors. I think previously a lot of us would agree that organizations, etc., would look inward rather in terms of a solution of how to go about it. So we thought that the OIP would create an opportunity for this collaborative approach to the problem solving, and then in turn also support the business models of the startups that would be there through the capacity building and training that the team will take you through if you are chosen to be part of the program at a later stage. So that is essentially one of the first things that we wanted to speak to. The other point that we wanted to speak to with the OIP is that usually startups don't necessarily understand what a corporate partner or a public sector partner would see as a real value proposition that would make them want to work with them. So in turn, you have a lot of corporates or public sector organizations supporting startups or working with them and then just terming it all as a CSR initiative, which is what we want to do away with as much as possible. So we're essentially trying to have it come across what the value is that you bring as a startup to this collaborative approach to solving problems. And we also want essentially to take you through a program where you also get to speak corporate, if I could term it that way, so that, you know, aside from what will come out of the OIP, if you're part of it, also just, you know, going forward, how would you better position yourself to work with a corporate? And this all speaks to now your corporation readiness, which is what we are also aiming to essentially very actively work towards with the program and the training curriculum that the team will put together based, of course, on the gaps that they have identified, etc., in your business models, and some of the training needs that you would also highlight as areas that you need some support and or capacity building on. So that then is one of the thoughts essentially that we had in mind with the OIP. And then also, or rather lastly, it's really also just an opportunity for you to now get to test your product with the intended user, to test the solution that you would have come up with the intended user, and then get firsthand feedback on, you know, how you can make it better to better suit the needs of the user that you have in mind for that particular solution that you would have come up with. So that's essentially what we had in mind with the Open Innovation Program. We are currently doing this now in Botswana, in Zambia, and in Uganda as well. So these are running at the same time. And our intention is, of course, to also just get some learnings from that and then be able to tweak it accordingly for the next iteration of the program, so that we could have even more success of connecting startups to corporates and public sector organizations. So that is essentially what is happening with the OIP. We also intend, hopefully at the end, to be able to bring some of the startups that would have come together either through a webinar of this sort, or maybe even physically, if that allows, where you're able to also just connect and share experiences, etc., and then see what we can do with that, but then link in the 3 countries together that are taking part in the OIP now. So I would just like to say that if you are selected and your solution is chosen to be part of the program, please make the most use of it. Don't ghost us. Please don't ghost us. If we would really like some very active participation in the program, for there to be more than one team member that is fully aware of what's going on with the process, and to be very, very, very actively involved. And we will be tailoring, of course, the training that will be given to you from the team to what is most needed or most suited to you as a startup that would take part in the OIP. And we're hoping that there is a lot that you will gain from this. And through some of the groundwork that the team has already laid, we're also looking forward to working with the corporates and the other partners that have come on board to say that this is a great initiative and they are ready to support it in whatever way that they can. And then, of course, ultimately, our intention with it is that also there is a mutual benefit that would come from it, from you as the startup and the corporate partner. This also being financial as well, even strategic partnerships as well. So that is just a bit about the program, who we are as the Make IT in Africa project, and where we would like to go with this program.
All right, thank you so much, Lorraine, for that address. I believe people have gotten one or two things from your talk. So we're going to have Taonga from Bonga just to give us a very short, brief address before we move on, before we go to the Q&A and finally close. Taonga.
Thank you, Doris. I think a lot has already been covered by you, Lenny, and Lorraine. Thank you very much. I think mine is just to emphasize the importance of co-creation and the co-creation process in general. Industry is giving us an opportunity to gain insights as to what some of the most complex challenges they're facing are, and an opportunity for us as innovators to find solutions to these complex problems and challenges that industry is facing. So we encourage you to let your minds wander, be creative in your approach. Please, we don't want you to just copy and paste a model that is happening already in Dola or that a cousin of yours is doing, but instead of just copying and pasting it, build upon it. Just to make sure that it's going above and beyond, because we've already received almost 100 applications, so the competition is quite high for this. But for your idea to stand out, we're looking for innovation, we're looking for creativity, but also for feasibility. So we're not saying, just bring up something from Mars that would have no applicability in our context. Also, just to add that we are here to support the process once it kicks off for those that will be selected. When I say we, I mean, both Make IT, Bongo Hive, and even within Bongo Hive, we have partnered with some external mentors to help guide you through this process. Our hope and dream is that each one of the problems that has been identified will find a solution from this intervention, and that each solution will be matched to an organization that is facing that problem. However, this should not be our ultimate end point. Regardless of whether your idea or your solution finds a home after the pitch day or not, we aim to get you to a point that you are investor ready, so that you can go out there and present your solutions in front of funders, in front of the right people, so that you are an active part of building solutions and creating the Zambia that we all desire. So I wish you all the very best. If you have any questions, we look forward to answering them during the Q&A, or you can contact us via email afterwards as well. Thank you, Doris.
Thank you so much, Taonga. And this brings us to the end of our session today. So it is time for your Q&A, and I will stop sharing my screen for now, just so that I am able to read your questions. So we have 3 questions so far in the Q&A section. So I will ask for Lenny and Mwaka just to check if there are any questions on the other platforms while we're streaming live. Just let me know. So far in the Q&A section, we have, so far it seems there is a strong bias towards IT. So okay, I'm not sure how to phrase this one, but I'll read it as it is. So far, it seems there is a strong bias towards IT. So the innovation is not an app, it doesn't qualify. So I think this one was supposed to say, does it mean that if your solution is not innovative, will it qualify? That one is from Kakoma Mutenda. So I think this question can be addressed before I move on to the next one.
Sure. If I understand Kakoma's question clearly, it's that if the innovation is not an application, then does it not qualify? Kakoma, is that correct? Okay. So an application isn't the only technology. It's not the only form of technology, right? So don't limit yourself to an app. It's actually sad that oftentimes when we talk about tech, people think of an app, but there are a lot of ways that technology plays a role that is outside of an application itself. However, when you look at the topics, green technology, smart cities, fintech, it is very likely that your solution will in one way or another rely on the use of technology, not an application, but technology to solve a problem. I hope this answers your question.
Okay, great. Kakoma, if you need more clarity based on your question, please feel free to reach us via email. Yeah, and your concern will be addressed. The second question is, apart from mentor expert support, is there any funding? I suppose this is supposed to be funding to see the innovation to its end, or are the solutions merely ideas at this stage? I will repeat the question. Apart from the mentor expert support, is there any funding to see the innovation to its end, or are the solutions merely ideas at this stage?
So because of what we are trying to accomplish, this intervention is targeting, or as Doris put it, preferably innovators or startups that have an MVP. So at this point, it's that you're beyond just having an idea, but you have shown some traction, whether it's that you've been able to validate this idea, or preferably that you have a minimum viable product or prototype that has come out of you going to the market already, or testing the market already. So we're not asking that you're so far along that, you know, you're already established and thriving, but just that, you know, preferably it's beyond just an idea, and it's something that you've been able to gain traction on. Another thing to add is it is possible for one company to realize, okay, we've been moving in this direction, and maybe we've, you know, identified or built out a prototype or an MVP, but we realize now that we can pivot to solve, you know, this particular challenge, or this solution that we're thinking about for problem X can, or to say, you know, this solution that we're thinking about for problem X can also be used for problem Y. So we encourage you, you know, to pivot if you see opportunities like that, but we are not targeting ideas that are in just, we're not targeting solutions that are just in idea stage at this point, at least not that they're the preferred ones.
Thanks, Kaunga. So finally from Kakoma, finally, are the problem statements representative, hypothetical, or actual problems that we just addressed in our solutions? Are the problem statements representative, hypothetical, or actual problems that we just addressed in our solutions?
So the problem statements are based on insights that we gathered when we met with the industry experts. So the key partners that we had for each of the different insight formation sessions. While the statements and the individuals that we've used are themselves hypothetical, the challenges that have been identified are very real. So these are challenges that came out of the process and are very real challenges. We're just using hypothetical names and locations, but the challenges themselves remain very real.
We have two more questions. So do you have strategic partners that will be participating in this program? And what are some of the benefits for innovators apart from connection to partners and mentorship? Do you have strategic partners that will be participating on this program? And what are some of the benefits for innovators apart from connection to partners and mentorship?
Yes, as was mentioned earlier, we do have key partners that formed most of the insight formation sessions that would be key throughout this process in providing guidance to the solutions, whether they really are speaking to the problems that they identified, and just helping you refine your solutions even as you go through the process. For the second part of the question, what are some of the benefits for innovators apart from connections and mentorship? it's building a solution that you potentially could take to the market, right? So I think the biggest desire of any innovator, being an innovator in essence, is that you're trying to solve problems, or you're passionate about solving problems. And that is exactly what this process helps you to do, is to solve some of the complex problems that have been identified by industry experts. Whether it's through the OIP program, that at the end of it, there is a direct match between a key partner and yourselves, or it could even be that, perhaps there isn't a direct match between the key partner and yourselves at the end of it, but there's an opportunity for you to take, take your idea, take your solution out there, and gain funding for it, put it before investors. Like I said earlier, our whole purpose is to get you investor ready at the end of this process. So yes, there's definitely more to gain. It's not just key partners and mentors, but you get out of it what you put in and what you see as an opportunity at the end of it.
Yeah, I just want to quickly add here to what Taonga is saying, in that I think maybe if we just backtrack a little bit, in that, we took the time to do a bit of groundwork, in that we actually went to partners, and then the partners highlighted the challenges that they see in the sector that they're looking for solutions for. And then we spoke now to how we would be essentially connecting you as a startup to that particular corporate, and then creating an opportunity for you to directly test your solution with that particular partner. If you just take a bit of time to think back in terms of how the journey or the track would usually be, in that you have a solution and it's great, yeah, sure, and you keep knocking on partner X's door and it takes forever, and it sometimes doesn't even essentially lead to anything. So what would have otherwise taken way too long, or maybe in the end nothing actually materializing from such interactions, we have now created an opportunity for you to just directly connect with them, and then directly work with them, and even test the solution that you have come up with. This is one of the areas that is traditionally quite difficult to kind of, get your foot in the door essentially with corporates, because number one, we go back to the topic of a lot of us, running our startups, we don't necessarily always speak the corporate language. And so therefore we're unable to present ourselves and even present a value proposition that the corporate would actually see as worth it for them. So I'm just hoping you can see it from more than just, here, Taonga, your startup is Green Tech X, and we have now connected you to the Department of, rather the City Council, for example, right? We've connected you, and then that's it. That is something that usually needs so much more work. And by the time you actually maybe even get your foot in the door, a lot of things have changed. You need to now do so much more. And now time has gone past that solution. It's either maybe now a little too late in terms of what the market is, where the market is already, is essentially. So there is quite actually a lot of value in bringing you in the same room as the corporate, and them actually also being ready to receive what you are saying, with the mind that these people are actually offering the value that we need.
Right. Thank you so much, Taonga and Lauren, for your comprehensive answers. So we have, I think I should be taking just two more, the last two questions that in the chat, and we will close because we've gone over time. So from Claudia, secondly, are we guaranteed safety of our IP? It sounds far-fetched, but valid.
Claudia, it's actually not far-fetched. It's a very good question. And this is something that we definitely have in place, at least we are solidifying, is a framework that protects you as founders, because it's very important to us that the founders get the recognition that they deserve for their ideas. So by the time everything's kicking off, we definitely will have a framework in place that will protect the founders and their ideas.
Sorry, I missed one from Claudia. Can a company pitch two concepts on two different applications?
Yeah. I responded to that one via the chat function.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that. So one from Alec Gibson: is the challenge restricted to startups with Parker registration? Since I am a student who has a thriving innovation and it is past idea stage, it is a prototype and has gained traction. Should I also register under PACRA for me to participate, or should I proceed to apply?
Thank you, Alec. One of the criteria for eligibility is registration with PACRA. I would recommend that you register with PACRA if you can. And I'm very excited to read your idea, actually, that's already thriving and past idea stage.
Okay, just to confirm, Mwaka, Lenny, do you have any questions from other social media platforms?
No questions.
Okay, thank you, Lenny. Okay, I think from Mwaka's end, she sent all of them to my WhatsApp. So our listeners, our participants, applicants, thank you so much for sparing your 1 hour, 30 minutes to be with us in this info session. I hope it's been helpful for those that are having challenges with your applications. Please reach out. You will find me on F6S, Doras. I'm there. Just send me a message or even just comments. I will be able to help you through the application process in any form that you're struggling to complete it. So thank you so much for those that have completed the applications. Well done. Those that are still in progress, please, before the deadline, our deadline is 18th May, make sure that you do your application, because your idea might just be the next one to be supported and also sponsored to higher levels. So our next steps are basically just what I am talking about. The application is still open until the 18th of May 2023. Then we're also in the process of shortlisting and also just reviewing the applications that have been submitted so far. And after that, we are going to sit down with the Make IT in Africa team and Bongo Hype just to shortlist and work with 15 startups with very, very good innovative ideas. All your ideas are amazing, but yeah, so those are the next steps. Please look out for our email should you make it to the next stage after the 18th of May. So thank you so much. It's been an awesome 1 hour 30 minutes with you, and yeah, reach out. I will just drop my email in the Q&A. Just take a note of it before we actually close the webinar. Lauren, if there are any closing remarks from your end, please go ahead.
Looking forward to, knowing the solutions that they come up with, and also looking forward to see which ones will then be adopted going forward. This is a very exciting one for us. That's all I would say.
All right, thank you so much. I have put my email in the chat. Please take note of it should you have any problems with your application. Thank you so much once again, and this marks the end of our info session.